What you just witnessed was how our fellow Sri Lankans in various parts of the country observed 3 minutes of silence at 8:30 this morning in memory of the victims who lost their lives in the terror attack carried out in churches and hotels in the country on Easter Sunday.
Yes, Joel. Now, a broad investigation has been launched and security across the country remains tight. Now, before we take a look at the current situation of the country in detail, here a look at your top stories for tonight.
Search for vehicles said to be rigged with explosives. Police curfew imposed from 9 tonight to 4 a.m. tomorrow. MP Ashu Marasinghe presents a private MP's bill to ban burqas and hijabs. President summons ambassadors, technical assistance from 8 powerful countries for the eradication of terrorism.
The Shangri-La Colombo was among the 3 luxury hotels that were subject to a series of coordinated bomb attacks that took place across the country last Sunday. Newsfirst is in possession of footage showing the 2 individuals suspected to have brought the bombs to the restaurant on the 3rd floor from the 6th floor of the building until the point of explosion.
Among the 3 hotels in Colombo that were hit, 2 bombs exploded at Shangri-La Hotel. This was the manner in which the 2 suicide bombers reached their targeted areas. Mohammed Qasim Mohammed Zahran Hashim, who is suspected to be the mastermind of the coordinated bomb attacks, was also among them.
The identity of the perpetrator responsible for the bomb attack at the Sansebastian Church in Katuapiteni, Gambo is yet to be ascertained. We will now show you the footage of the suspect reaching the church area.
This footage shows how the suicide bomber entered the Zion Church in Batticaloa and detonated the explosive that claimed the lives of more than 28 people, including 14 children. Meanwhile, the father of the prime suspect responsible for the explosions that took place in the luxury housing complex in Dematagoda was apprehended. The apprehended suspect has been identified as 65-year-old Al-Hajj Yusuf Mohammed. Security forces have already confirmed that the two suicide bombers responsible for the explosion at Cinnamon Grand and Kingsbury Hotel are the sons of the apprehended suspect.
Speaking on our Newsline program, retired senior DIG Newsfirst.lk, the former commandant of the Special Task Force.
Yeah, you can see they have been renting out houses, and this mechanism of exploding 8 or 9 bombs simultaneously is not an easy thing, because I know for one thing. And the explosives used also.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
explosive used also is TATP, that is used by the Al-Qaeda, acetone peroxide.
Okay.
Acetone peroxide, it's a chemical. Yeah. Earlier LTT had AN4 and where AN4 ammonium nitrate and fuel oil.
Right.
Yeah, this is something
Far more potent?
very much than even TNT.
Oh, okay.
So that is why if you really see
Right.
a chap who's carrying a backpack would have been 4 to 6 or 8 kilos would have been the maximum. See the damage. Kochikade Church.
Yes.
When you see that, you know, it's like 20 kilos of TNT.
Right.
But there's only one man went in there with a backpack. So that shows
Well,
these.
it's the same in Negombo.
Yeah, because the explosives were so powerful, and that means they have done their homework.
Parliament convened today for the first time since Sunday's terror attacks.
අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ ලැබෙන සංදේශ
When Parliament convened today, the Speaker informed the House of the notice issued by the President declaring a state of emergency. Making a statement in Parliament today, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya noted that all possible steps would be taken to ensure the security of members of Parliament given the prevailing situation. The next item on the agenda for today's sittings was a special statement by the Prime Minister on the prevailing situation. Tensions flared when the Speaker intervened to prevent MP Vimal Veeravansa from raising a point of order ahead of the Prime Minister's statement.
What is the point of order? What is the point of order?
ගරු මම බොහොම සතුටු වෙනවා මේ ඉස්ලාමන්තවාදයට උඩගෙඩි දෙන තමුන්නාසලා
දැයි ගරු අගමැතිතුමා
මේ කරන ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මගේ
ඔබතුමා වෙනවා කතා කරනවා. බැරිමා ගරු අගමැතිතුමා. නෑ නෝ sorry. ගරු අගමැතිතුමා වාඩි වෙන්න. තානායකතුමනි අවස්ථාව දෙන්න පස්සේ. ගරු කතානායකතුමනි අද පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා මේ සභාවට බාධා කරන්න එපා කියලා ජාතික අපදාවක් කියන අවස්ථාවක මේ කටයුතු කරන අවස්ථාව දෙන්න වාඩි වෙන්න. මම ඔබතුමාට වාඩි වෙන්න කියනවා. ඔබතුමාට දෙන්නේ නැහැ.
The Prime Minister proceeded to make his statement in spite of the vociferous protest from the opposition benches.
In the past, we had the war, and on the ground, in addition to guerrilla and traditional warfare, we had to face suicide attacks from terrorists. These suicide attacks were being carried out by those who were supporting the war on the ground. They acted with political intentions. What we have today is very different. It is global terrorism. What we see today is beyond the ethnic terrorism of the past. This is terrorism based on religion. It is not surprising that former terrorists are shouting about this. We can say today that the terrorism we are experiencing is well planned and is a long-term endeavor. Although it is a handful that are involved in this, they have long-term plans. These people have also received training. They had planned several attacks, and we have been able to thwart some of them. There has been a breakdown in the secrecy here. There are the bombers and the handlers who manage the suicide bombers. The police and intelligence services are acting to apprehend these people. A state of emergency has been declared to enable this and to empower Triforces to detain these people. One of the motives here was to cause economic damage. This was an attack on our economy at a time when the economy was on the rise with the dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year and people had money. Steps have been taken to strengthen security at tourist locations and to strengthen the economy. We will not allow another 30-year war to break out. This is what they want. The necessary steps are being taken on this. Some in the opposition will criticize and point out shortcomings in the steps that we have taken. That is okay. But when they shout like mad dogs, what are we to think?
I kindly call on you to uphold the respect given to the honorable member and be seated now. Do not turn this entire house into a farce.
We have received information that an Islamist extremist group carried out this attack in response to the recent massacre at mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. Further investigations are underway. It has also been revealed that the organization which carried out these attacks, the National Tawheed Jamaat, is connected to the JMI organization. We must take immediate steps to ban such Islamist extremist organizations. Members of this organization must be brought before the law. I wish to state that immediate steps should be taken against all extremist organizations operating within Sri Lanka. Their fixed and movable assets must be seized by the state. Honorable Speaker, we can strengthen national security if we take these steps. We were unable to mitigate or prevent the Easter Sunday attacks because of weaknesses in the security structure. Intelligence services were aware that such attacks would be targeted at churches. It has been confirmed now that competent persons had been informed of this. However, this information has only been exchanged among a few officers. At a time when the President was on an overseas visit, we question as to why neither I nor the Prime Minister were informed of this threat.
In January 2015, I entrusted a completely secure country to the new president. We had strengthened intelligence services to an extent where there would be no threat to the country in the future. This government is completely responsible for the Easter Sunday tragedy. The police had warned that such an incident could occur. What did the government do after being informed of this?
The foreign ambassadors and the representatives of the international agencies were unanimous in their expression of full support to President Maithripala Sirisena to curb terrorism in Sri Lanka.
Addressing all the ambassadors and high commissioners based in Sri Lanka, resident representatives of United Nations and affiliated organizations, and heads of other international agencies at the Presidential Secretariat today, the President expressed confidence that terrorism can be curbed soon as the law enforcement agencies have taken swift measures to identify and arrest the criminals responsible for acts of terrorism and aiding and abetting such acts. He revealed that already 8 countries with experience, intelligence skills and high technology capabilities to fight terrorism have assured Sri Lanka that they would provide assistance. He pointed out Sri Lankan intelligence experiences gained during the 30-year-old conflict would be useful to carry out anti-terrorism measures now that the armed forces could use emergency powers enacted last night. President Sirisena said the blocking of social media could be lifted soon.
US President Donald Trump described the Easter attack on churches and hotels in Sri Lanka.
It's a terrible thing. I just spoke with the Prime Minister. I spoke with the various government officials that we are working with Sri Lanka. But that's a terrible thing.
Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called for those behind the deadly attacks to be brought to justice.
This is America's fight too. I spoke with the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka this morning, and our embassy and other parts of the U.S. government are offering all possible assistance to Americans and the Sri Lankan government alike. We urge that any evildoers be brought to justice expeditiously, and America is prepared to support that.
Many factions claim that they knew of the attacks that claimed the lives of hundreds of innocent Sri Lankans during Easter Mass. Now, if these people were aware of these attacks, could they not have saved the lives of the more than 300 victims?
Documents purporting to display prior knowledge of authorities on an attack at a number of important churches in Colombo and the office of the Indian High Commissioner were in circulation during the past few days. A letter containing these details was sent to the Inspector General of Police by the head of the National Intelligence Unit, Cicero Mendes, on behalf of the Defence Secretary on the 9th of April. The letter sent by Cicero Mendes states that attacks may take the form of suicide bombings, shootings, stabbings and truck attacks. This letter was sent to the Inspector General of Police along with the names of the people suspected of possibly carrying out the attacks. On the same day, the 9th of April, the IGP forwarded this letter to a number of Deputy Inspector Generals of Police. The letter was sent to the senior DIG in charge of the Western Province, the Director of the Terrorist Eradication and Investigations Division, Varuna Jayasundara, Commanding Officer of the Police Special Task Force, MR Latif, and the DIG in charge of the Special Protection Division, Priyalal Dasanayake. Ministers and MPs during the past few days claimed that Priyalal Dasanayake had forwarded this letter to directors of divisions functioning under his purview. However, speaking to foreign media, the Secretary of Defence had this to say.
We never expected an attack of this magnitude, but not to this extent. It's say isolated, maybe 2 attacks here and there and various things. We never expected it to be so big.
Meanwhile, The Hindu reported that the National Investigation Agency had specific intelligence on the serial blasts in Sri Lanka. The report says, quote, while examining an Islamic State sympathizer in Tamil Nadu 6 months ago, investigators got to know of the terror plot and alerted the authorities concerned to pass on the information to Sri Lanka, unquote. Confirming this to The Hindu on April 22nd, a senior police officer said there was clear information on the plan to trigger blasts, which was communicated to Sri Lanka through diplomatic channels. Speaking to CNN, non-cabinet Minister of Economic Reforms and Public Distribution, Dr. Harsha De Silva, said the US and India warned of imminent attacks before the Insta bombings.
Minister, can you tell me which foreign intelligence briefed you? Can you tell me how you got the information?
From what I understand, it came from both India and the United States. That's what I hear.
This is a serious issue, and the main concern is that despite having received prior information of this attack, they did not pay sufficient attention to the matter.
My father has been hospitalized at Nawaloka for the past 3 weeks. He phoned me last night and asked me not to attend church, as he had heard of such things.
Despite such statements and somewhat excuses, does the prevailing facts not indicate that they were aware of the serial bomb attacks? If they were aware in this regard, should they have not taken the necessary measures to prevent such ruthless attacks from taking place? Is this not their responsibility to ensure the security of the general public?
Police arrested 2 men from Madampitiya for spreading false information about water contamination in Colombo.
The suspects were remanded until the 6th of May. They were remanded as per the provisions of the Penal Code and the provisions of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Police warned strict legal action will be taken against anyone found guilty of spreading false information. Meanwhile, police and personnel from the Special Task Force searched a suspicious house in Batagama Khandana this evening. Police said a couple used to live in the house on rent and they are currently missing. 15 kilograms of cannabis, 15 grams of a narcotic named ice, 25 grams of a banned substance called kush, and 8 bullets compatible with a T-56 assault rifle were seized by police. The Mount Lavinia Police and the Police Special Task Force searched a house in Saranankara Road, Dehiwala, and discovered several bullets on the road opposite the house. The Sri Lanka Army and STF continued search operations in and around the house located in Mahavila Road, Dehiwala, and recovered fragments from the Sunday's bomb and a number of suspicious material. One person was arrested with 575 kilograms of ammonia and several other material in Nochiagama, Anuradhapura. Police Special Task Force searched a suspicious lorry in Enderamulla Vattala today. 2 men were arrested by the Kadavada police to record statements as the lorry is believed to have come from Kalpitiya. The bomb disposal unit searched a car which was left unattended close to a place of worship in Pitakote. It is believed the car was at the location since yesterday. Police did not discover any suspicious items, however, they seized the car. This morning, a special search operation took place in Kurunegala. Vehicles travelling to Colombo on the Kurunegala-Colombo road were subject to search and inspection. Police in Colombo are on high alert searching for a lorry and a van suspected to be carrying explosives that have entered Colombo. All police stations in Colombo have been informed of this after the information was received by the DIG in charge of Colombo. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said that all police stations around the country have been informed to look out for a number of specific vehicles that are believed to have been used for illegal activities. The spokesperson added that the Inspector General of Police has issued instructions to the police stations around the country to look out for 3 motorbikes, 1 cab and a van. The vehicle registration numbers of the said vehicles have also been provided to the police stations. The 116 hotline has been expanded to accept information on suspicious vehicles according to the Sri Lanka Air Force.
Now, police curfew was put in effect across the island starting at 9 p.m. today and will be in effect until 4 a.m. tomorrow. According to the Education Ministry, the school holidays have been extended to the 29th of April. Moving on, in more news now, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith made a request from the general public at a media briefing held at his official residence today.
දැන් මේ වෙලාවේ මේ වගේ විනාශයක් සිදු වුණු වෙලාවේ මනුෂ්‍ය හැඟීම් අනුව එකට එක කිරීමේ ප්‍රවණතාවයක් අපිට තියෙන්න පුළුවන්.
When a tragedy like this takes place and human emotions take over, there is a tendency to seek revenge. This may be natural, but by seeking revenge, we will only have to suffer the consequences of the tensions escalating. So do not take the law into your own hands. Don't be of the mindset thinking he did it or they did it, because we don't know exactly who are behind these incidences. These people who we see may not be the people who orchestrated this. It may be other forces. They may be local or foreign forces. No matter who says what, we must act sensibly. I request parish priests to refrain from celebrating masses at your churches until further notice. Priests can personally fulfill their duties of celebrating mass, but they do not need to gather a public in large groups and celebrate mass. Due to security concerns, we don't need to conduct Sunday school as well. We must ensure their safety. There could be more stupid people who are full of hate around the island. They might attack our children, so parents, please protect your children. Also, various government organizations have pledged their support for the reconstruction of these churches, especially Minister of Cultural Affairs Sajid Premadasa. Various other organizations, MPs and ministers and even Buddhist organizations have pledged their support to me. I bow my head in gratitude to them.
මට ඒකට උදව් කරනවා කියලා කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒ සියලු දෙනාටම මම අවංකවම හිස පහත් කරමින් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා.
Hundreds of voices raised with prayers were silenced following the sound of an explosion at the Sansebastians Church in Katuwapitia. This is their story.
The premises of the Katuwapitia Sansebastians Church was reopened today, not to continue the celebration of Mass that was abruptly stopped on Easter Sunday, but to observe the final rites of the people whose lives came to a tragic end on that very same day. Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith, petitioned God on behalf of the victims of Sunday's attack.
තව දුරටත් මේ මිනිමැරීමේ ව්‍යාපාරය ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන්න එපා. මේ රටේ පොළව ලේන් තෙත් කරන්න හදන්න එපා කියලා මම ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා. මේ මියගිය අපගේ සෝවිරන්ගේ ඒ පරිත්‍යාගය ඔබ වහන්සේට ප්‍රසන්න යාගයක් කරගන්න. මිනිසුන්ගේ සිත් හැරීමේ අවස්ථාවකට පාදක කරගන්න.
Although the people in the area are still reeling from the shock of the explosions, they were present at the church premises for their fallen brothers and sisters.
21st April 2019, 8 places were bombed and hundreds of people died. One of the most severely attacked places is Sansebastians Church, Katuapitia in Negombo. Today, they had their funeral service outside their church. Religious leaders, politicians, family members were present in the funeral service.
The remains of the victims were brought into the land one by one for the burial, most of them being from the same family. This plot of land is insufficient to hold all the bodies of the victims. Another area in the village is being prepared for the burial of the remaining bodies.
Ashu Marasinghe made a personal proposal to the parliament today.
අණ්ඩුපක්ෂ රැස්වීමේදී අපි ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා බුර්කාව තහනම් කළ යුතුයි කියන යෝජනාව ගෙනා යුතුයි.
Today at the party meeting, we will request to bring the proposal to ban the burqa. I will hand over the proposal as a personal request to the General Secretary of the Parliament. It has also been an issue to the terrorism operated worldwide. When we ask the Muslim leaders, they say that the burqa is not a traditional Muslim attire. Therefore, it is essential now to ban burqa. This came up only recently. It is questionable if that came up with the support of terrorist groups. This is my personal request as a parliamentarian. We need to start the discussions from somewhere. When we request from the Muslim parliamentarians or leaders, they don't say that their wives wear the burqa. I think we should do this after discussing with the Muslim community.
මුස්ලිම් සමාජයත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ සාකච්ඡාවට ආරම්භයක් තමයි අපි උත්සාහ කරන්නේ මේ කරන්න.
Nadan Gurge assumed duties as the Commissioner General of the Inland Revenue Department today.
Nadun Guruge, who assumed duties as the 33rd Commissioner General, has been serving as the Acting Commissioner General of the Inland Revenue Department. He is a graduate of the Sri Jayawardhanapura University. He joined the Inland Revenue Department in 1984. What's the service that has been done during the past 87 years? Have we fulfilled our responsibilities and duties properly? We have to find out our shortcomings. We have to face numerous challenges. There are a large number of issues to be resolved. The main objective should be to achieve the goal of making effective decisions based on accurate figures. We have to come together and achieve this. The department possesses the required professional knowledge. We also have the skilled human resources.
With that, we wrap this edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Take care, good night and God bless.